Okay. Oh, we're set here. See where we go from here. Okay, are we ready? For Bree, past life. Okay. We've got the comic and the seed. And this is very interesting. I'm getting something about a cat herder, herding cats. So, okay, we'll see what's going on. Okay, so what we have is somebody here that's coming through. We've got this abandonment and war coming through very strongly here, and then we've got inheritance. And what I'm getting is the cat herder wages a war on the aristocracy. What you do is you have a sense of the divine comedy. You have a sense of serving up humble pie for others. In this particular life, what you do is disperse chaos in not terribly harmful way, but a way that humbles people. So like if you were going into a farmer's field and the aristocracy was making the farmers work extra hard or whatever, you'd be planting seeds of onions throughout the field, and they'd be expecting, I don't know, maybe they're expecting potatoes and they're getting onions. You're doing mischief a lot, and it delights you. You feel like somehow the system failed you, so it's not so much revenge, but it's like, fine, then I'm just going to disrupt and do whatever I want. And you've got this little bit of a wild streak, and you do what suits you comically. You have an interesting sense of justice, and the universe allows for this to go through in this way. The magician, the trickster, the prankster, the queen of pentacles, knowing the value of certain seeds, knowing the value of things. You're good at trading things. You're good at merchant type trades. You make a good trade. You always trade and get the better end of a trade. Not that you always give somebody a crap deal, but you're not going to settle for a crap deal yourself. You always are looking out for yourself now. So you wage war on the aristocracy. Like, you would be very good at selling them. You would be able to sell, you know, ice cubes to an Eskimo is one phrase that people say. You could sell them anything. You could let their pompousness serve them right. You let their vanity play games with them. Like, you would sell them powdered wigs with lice infestations. That is not nice, and that's a very distinct and specific. We're now understanding a little bit more about the time frame that we are in. Okay, yes, we are in France in the time of the white wigs, the white high wigs. I don't know that you are in Antoinette's court, but you definitely understand how ridiculous they are. This feels like chaos in the French Revolution type period, or in the French aristocracy type period coming through. The magician's playing all kinds of Twix, yes. I'm not sure which gender you are. This is so crazy to me. Not that it matters, but you might be curious. I think you are a female in this past life. However, you're very slight built. You're very slender built, like very, very slender. You go incognito when you want. Many people in the past did, just for their own defenses. It's not a big deal. You're slight built and you're short. So you're scrawny is what I'm getting. You're scrawny. So people would mistake you for a little bit younger than what you are. They'll mistake you for a kid or a younger child when you're not. And you're a lot smarter than, so you get underestimated, and then you cause a little bit of chaos. I don't know where your parents are. I have no idea where they are. I think that something went awry and that you've been orphaned for a while. I don't know why or where that happened. Do we have any idea on the family here? I'm getting a kitchen keeper, and I don't know why I'm getting a kitchen keeper, but that's what I'm getting that comes through. Somebody kept you like close on their skirts when you were young in the kitchen, but really they were in the more of the serving class. A kitchen keeper, it's like a cook or a servant of some sort, but only as long as, like, you know, would be right, but they didn't have time to hassle with you much. A kitchen keeper, there was one person in head of the kitchen, ran the show. They kind of looked out for you after something happened, but they didn't look out for you for very long, and you didn't necessarily love being underfoot. That's why you were out of there. Boom. Oh. And it's why you don't like the stupid aristocracy. The kitchen keeper that kept track of this kitchen, the aristocracy, her employers, I don't know how to put it, her employers, they were uppity, and she didn't like them, and she was not too thrilled, but she would, yes ma'am, yes sir, yes ma'am. She would do what she needed to do to keep her job, but then she'd be back in the kitchen, snipe and gripe. Now, the kitchen keeper felt like she didn't get a very good lot in life, even though she did. She probably would have been a little bit pissy about anything. And the aristocracy that she worked for, the family that she worked for, I don't think they were terrible for their time period, but they were definitely toysters and snooties, and there was a lot of mockery going on in the kitchens. That's partly where you picked up some of this humor, and it's like, we'll see. The chaos comes again. Now, this is a flirting and a wooing of someone who does have a little bit more nobility in their line. A flirting and a wooing. I don't think your heart's really in it. It's absolutely not in it. You just want to see what he does. You're more the player, lady slayer than the one you're wooing. This is something you know how to do. You know how to play. You know how to play mischief. You are more the wooer. You're not careful with people's hearts in this life. You're a little bit callous from circumstance. Anything else? You just like to see what happens. It's like this sense of mischief that's in you, this almost like a court jester, but you have no court. You're a courtless jester. You have this jester, this foolhardiness and this foolishness that you get away with murder a lot. And then you wreak a lot of chaos, but you speak the truth so plainly, people don't hold it against you. But you roam around and you create disruption and disturbance in a good way that needs to happen, like planting onions instead of potatoes. I mean, they sound like silly kinds of pranks, but these kinds of things that you do, you might go and hide everybody's swords under a haystack or shit like this. You would go do these kinds of things. And then, oh, the face of innocence. Oh, the very, very face of innocence all the time. They would think, oh, she didn't mean to do that. Oh, it was an accident. But all the time, you're keeping track of what you're doing. You know exactly what you're doing, and you're pretty strategic about it. You have access to other places because people assume you're so young. And you're creating a disturbance in the aristocracy across the board. There's two families that you target, that you create disturbances with. It's just to create instability. And it's not wrong-headed. That's the interesting thing about it. It's why you get away with it. It's why the universe lets you get away with it. It's why you're almost blessed in the chaos you create. Things will go missing. Things will go like, okay, where did I put this? What you're doing isn't malicious, but it is cumulative. The cumulative effect of something over time of what you're doing. It's quite interesting. Because you're going to go and do these things. You're going to go and create a little bit of panic. And you know how to get in and out of kitchens, which affects the aristocracy a lot. Like you would know how to create, you know, a bad brew of this or that. But you don't have malice. You're not poisoning anybody. You're not totally wreaking havoc on their harvest. But you are giving them humble pie enough that they have to question things. That their servants are actually shown to be better people and doing a good job, even when the aristocracy is being idiots. the powers that be, the monies that are, you're trying to help break some of this down because you see the inequity and unfairness, and you're trying to break down some of the powers that be. You're trying to get them to not be quite so serious, and you're trying to create more humor and more mirth. And sometimes the joke is on them, and other times they laugh at the silliness of a thing. Now what do we have here? There is a more serious nature. Again, we're drawn back to the one that you wooed, that he goes out to battle. He fights on this battle. You don't want him to go. There's a conversation where his burden of aristocracy is quite heavy. And I don't know that you even love him so dearly, but you don't want him to go to whatever this is, wherever he's feeling like he has to go to stand for his family will. This traveling he must do, you don't want him to do. You almost want to go with him, and he's telling you no, that you can't go with him. And you know that if he goes, that, okay, but you would rather be able to go. You can't go. It's very much, I beseech thee, take me with you. No. The answer is no. Makes you pissed off a little bit more. I think you want to pull off a great caper, a great adventure. You do, it's like a stowaway type of situation in some of the traveling trunks and business of things that he would carry. And there's definitely revolution is coming closer in the air. It's not at its height, but it is coming closer in the air. You're traveling, you leave the area that you're in and you start going on these tricks somewhere else, but revolution is in the air. This mischief that you're creating, you're not the only one that is having this particular task in this lifetime to help create a little bit of more uprising. You're not the only one with this. It's justice is trying to be there. Justice is at multiple doorways. You stow away for a while, but you jump ship. You don't go all the way with this person where they're going. You just get further down the road. Perfect season, perfect season. Almost time. There's a little bit of stuckness. You're still outside of the circles of what would be norm or conform or fitting somewhere. You get a sense of timing, You feel like the revolution is coming. There's a rhythm to things that is coming. You have like 1 more year left. You know this. You're waiting for some certain event to happen, and something about the water. It's like you're making some kind of offering. Something about the water, and then something goes wrong. There's something that you were trying to make some sort of offering. I don't know what this was about, but you know the seasons are coming shorter. You know that you want to, it's like you want to appease the gods that be or whatever. You're making some sort of offering. Perhaps a little bit of penance for all the mischief you've made. However, there's something, you drown. There's a drowning. It's almost like you wanted to, your soul wanted you to get out of Dodge before the revolution hit. And you went to do something towards the waters, and something happened. I don't know what happened. That's a little unusual. All right, what's going on here? There was something in the water. There was a mistaking of one thing for another thing. It was an accidental drowning. You weren't murdered. You weren't killed. There was nothing mean or malicious going on. Your time had just come, and the divine yanks you out of there. And whatever the mix-up was, the prankster almost is... You didn't booby-trap yourself, but almost like the prankster finally got pranked and got yanked out of there before before the serious intensity of a revolution could destroy the soul. It looks like that there was a drowning, and it looks like that this is something that was in the cards that you had an inkling of, but not a real knowing of. I don't think you had children. I don't think you grew old. I don't think you even hit 20. It was a very young, not frivolous, but in lots of ways, silly, playful, kind of a nutty life that you led during this time frame. And it was because malice wasn't in you, but chaos was. That's just how it was. Do we have any idea of anything else? Young enough to have this flirt with love, but not any real experience of it. You may be 16 or 17 when this happened. And it's okay. There was an interruption. It doesn't leave you lacking for your contract. The mirthfulness, the happiness would have been much better for you to exit stage left, so to speak, on this particular lifetime versus go into the bloody battles of the French Revolution. That's what I'm getting. The experience you have in playing trickster was intended to be so. Very strange and unusual. Like you are the courtless jester. Will you write that down as the title? It's like the jester without a court. You were the jester. You delivered a lot of truth bombs and pranks and silliness and a little bit of havoc, a little bit of mischief. You probably still do this in a little bit of a way here and there. And it's not that you were like, because you did all these pranks, then this is your penalty. No, not at all. Not at all. It was your role, the role that you were supposed to be playing. It was your role to help put some chinks in some of that armor that was the built-up defenses in a way that was a more gentle kind of a way. That's what I've got. That's complete. Crazy. Good. But wild. But yeah, that's what comes through. Wow. And this is the Wild Unknown Archetypes, Past Lives cards, and the Beautiful Rebellion cards. Wow. Holy cow. That was a wild one. Very wild indeed.